Good morning, everyone. Today I'll give a presentation about the paper called Cognitive Models of the Brain. This is the Professor Wang. In his lab, the research field of his lab is focused on the software engineering. So they use the software engineering perspective to try to introduce the cognitive models of the brain. And the paper is in the proceedings of the CSIE 2002. But in recent 10 years, they have lots of research. They have published a lot of papers about the cognitive informatics. They want to know the human intelligence from the cognitive informatics perspective. And so they have, based on this model, the cognitive models, and they have created other relative models like OAR or LIND or some mathematics models to analyze their cognitive models. Today's outline in this slide. The first, I'll give a brief introduction, and the second is the structure of memory in the brain. And then cognitive models of the nature intelligence will be discussed. And finally, we will have some discussion about the cognitive mechanism of the brain and the discussion. So in the introduction, what is the cognitive informatics? The cognitive informatics is a kind of research field. They try to use the systematic way to understand or to know what is the human intelligence. And also in this paper, they call human intelligence as the nature intelligence. And because we want to know the conscious or the cognition of the human, so this kind of information is based on the memory. So they propose a memory-based approach. They try to define some memory models and to construct the cognitive model of the brain. And so in this paper, they use the high-level functional architecture. And in this paper, they also describe two ideas in the cognitive informatics. The first is the NIOS, that is the Natural Intelligence Operating System level, and the NIACC, the Natural Intelligence Application level. And these two levels will be discussed in detail later. So in the introduction, in this slide, this is the theoretical framework of the. This is a theoretical framework of their research framework. They construct a complex and concrete framework to build up their cognitive model of the brain. So we can see each square, each represents a kind of model, and they did some research in each of the defined models. But we don't focus on the total model of their framework. We just describe their basic ideas. So we will focus on the OAR and the LRND in the theory of the cognitive informatics. So as we described about previously, they use the memory-based approach to build up their cognitive model of the brain. So the first step is we have to know what type of memories in our brain. So they use the standard or classical memory model. That is, they define three types of human memory. The first is the sensory memory, like you smell something, or you feel something, or you see something. That is a kind of sensory memory. And then the short-term memory. The short-term memory is the memory used to remember things. that like you see the notebook or you see the blackboard, and that things is in your short-term memory. And then the long-term memory. The long-term memory is the things record in your memory that you can, like you learn something from books or you learn something from class. That is a long-term process in learning, or you remember things. So we know the basic types of memory, and the next step is they try to use the computer science perspective to define some data structures of the memory. So the first is the sensory buffer memory. This is related to the short-term memory in human memory. And the data structure of the sensory buffer memory is a set of cues to each of the sensors. Because we said that the short-term memory is the capability of the short-term memory is limited. So they may have the capacity is about the 7 plus or minus 2. And then the short-term memory is the working memory in the human memory. And they use a set of stacks to represent the working memory. And in the long-term memory, that is the focused data structure in this paper. In the long-term memory, because they use the hierarchical neural clusters with partially connected neural via synapses. But they did not focus on the neuron level. They used the OAR, the object attribute relation models to represent the long-term memory. They did not use just the neurons or the synapses to build up the data structure. They used the concept, the object, this kind of information to build up this hierarchical architecture. And finally is the action buffer memory. The action buffer memory is the output-oriented. So they focus on the sequence of actions or the process. Because cognitive informatics, they try to understand humans from the top-down approach. So as we said before, most of the information is about the conscious or some cognition, but they did not go directly into the brain structure, the neuron level. But we still have to understand the memory, the conscious, the memory, and their relationship between the memory and the brain structure. In this slide, we can see from this table, the long-term memory is related to the association cortex or the premotor cortex, and etc. And then they provide a cognitive model of the long-term memory, as we said in previous slide. The OER model is called object attribute relation. So in long-term memory, people learn things, and so like we know an object like tree, and the tree is an object, and we see this tree, and the tree is tall or short, or the tree is green or other colors, or their leaves is all fall down on the ground. This is kind of attribute, and this attribute is to describe, to represent the object. And the object also will have some relationship with other objects, and that is called the relation. So like tree, it has the relationship of forest or wood or environment. And so the OAR is the basic model to represent the long-term memory. In this slide, we can see the OAR model more in detail. Like a concept is an object and its attribute set and its relationship set. And this is the two objects, the relationship among two objects. You can see their attributes and their relationship. So the properties of the long-term memory is it's directed. It has the direction, and the new relation or the connections can be generated. Like you study new things or you learn new things, and the memory in your brain will rebuild and will give you a new information. It can be reconfigurable, and its contains loops can be traversed or searched. And the most important thing is it cannot be stored. So carry on. We'll describe the cognitive model of the natural intelligence. This is the core of this research. And in the cognitive models, they use the NI6, that is Natural Intelligence System. It consisted of the NIOS and the NIAPP. That is the Natural Intelligence Operating System and the Natural Intelligence Application. And the NIOS is a predetermined operating system. What does the NIOS mean? It represents the basic life function of the human. So that is the subconscious functions. And the NIAPP it represents the acquired life applications like learning or some higher level functions. We can see more detailed descriptions later. And this is their reference model of brain. In this paper, they just define 4 levels of the brain, of the cognitive model of the brain. So that is level 0 and level 1 and level 2 and level 3. And it's corresponding to different NIA or NIOS. NIS is represent the conscious, and the NIOS is represent the subconscious. But we said their research has in progress in these 10 years. So in 2007, they redesigned the level of the cognitive model of the brain. And so they provide 6 layers. And in recent, they even defined 7 layers of the brain models. And this is the cognitive life function. As we said, in this paper, they define the NIOS and the NIAPP. The NIOS represent the subconscious, the functions for humans to try to exist, try to live. And the conscious is the higher level functions that to help people, help humans to get a better life experience. So their function is listed in these 2 tables. And from the functional model perspective, to see their cognitive model of the brain, we can see in this slide. And this is the core of the functional model is the NIOS. It's the thinking engine or the functions to assist the human to live. And this is the basic component of our human brain, like limbic system or basal ganglia or thalamus, this kind of brain structure. And the NIAPP is the application of the natural intelligence. That is the area of the cortex area of the human brain. And they build up this functional model not only